Hey guys, it's your girl Cassandra, and today we are going to go over all of Yale supplemental essays. I am Cassandra. I got into every school that I applied to, including all 8 Ivy League universities, and I did end up going to Yale, so I'm a little bit biased. I do think it is the greatest school in the universe. But yeah, we're going to break down everything today, from the longer ones to the super short answer questions. Before we dive in, I've got a couple of resources for you guys. You can watch me break down all of my Yale essays from my application year. You can watch my Yale vlogs, my Yale Q&A, this video of me reading my admissions file, and you can also read my Yale Bulldog blogs on the admissions website. I was a paid blogger during my time at Yale for this. Plus, if you find yourself more of a reader as a learner, you can sign up for my free email newsletter out every Tuesday and Friday. All right, future Bulldogs, are you ready? Let's get into it. The first question is, tell us about a topic or idea that excites you and is related to one or more academic areas you selected above. Why are you drawn to it? And this is 200 words or fewer. So this is a why major essay, not a why Yale essay that is coming later. You can keep it focused entirely on your intellectual curiosity. So you don't really have to drop things about Yale in here. It's just really, they want to see that you're passionate about it. Okay, so how do you show that you are passionate? I tell this to my students all the time. I encourage students to nerd out. Nerding out, when you meet like a nerd, like a true geek, a true nerd, and they're talking your ear off about some type of topic that they're really into, you can tell that they're a nerd because they are probably throwing terms at you that you do not understand. So why is including jargon from your field of interest important and effective? Well, one, it shows that you are a master at what you do, and two, it shows that you are passionate, right? When someone is going on and on about the in-depth details of what they love to do, well, I can really see that they love to do it. Basically, admissions officers want to have confidence that you are well equipped to take on the major that you are choosing. I would also think about the implications of this for the future. Like, what do you want to contribute to this field? Or what is at stake in this field in the future on a wider level? Like, is the small little bit of machine learning that you are working on now have implications down the line for, I don't know, solving cancer, right? So like, think big picture, where is this going? So the second question is, reflect on how your interests, values, and or experiences have drawn you to Yale. This is 125 words or fewer. So you can watch this video. It goes more in depth about how to answer these why us questions. So of course, for this essay, some elements of this essay should be major related, but you can go beyond that to Yale's vibes, right? Like, what are the traditions or the culture or the dining hall scene, the social life scene, extracurriculars, residential life, study abroad programs, like you can go beyond the major in this question. Now, I tell my students this all the time. Make sure your why us essays passes the name subtest. In this case, if I can swap out Yale for Harvard in this essay and nothing about that sentence changes, well, that tells me your sentence is too vague. A lot of schools have collaborative learning environments and interdisciplinary disciplines. Give me something more specific that I can't separate Yale from it. Now, my biggest piece of advice for this essay is to really imagine yourself as a student at Yale, down to the minute details of like what quad you're crossing to get to your lecture about this taught by this person, or what kind of grant, the name of the grant that you are going to utilize to bring your literary magazine to life. That's where reading blogs and watching vlogs from current students can be super helpful in actually giving you like the taste of what life at Yale is actually like. So why is it important to do this? Well, you are helping the reader, your admissions officer, picture you as a student at Yale. So that brings us to the longer essay. We'll go over the short takes at the end. The longer essay, you get to choose one of the 3 following questions. Okay, so how do you decide like which of these 3 you're going to choose? I would prioritize what element of you as a person have you not talked about yet, right? And so this goes back to my video on the spiderweb method. Everyone has these important qualities about them, important things that you do, that you spend a lot of time on, that are meaningful meaningful to you. So if you haven't had the space to explore that yet in these other two Yale questions or your short answers, well, then I would prioritize picking number 3, which is reflecting on an element of your personal experience, that question, because it is kind of a catch-all. So I would work backwards to see which values, which traits, which things that are important to you that you haven't had a chance to talk about yet that you can slide under one of these 3 questions and let that guide which essay it should be. So the first question is, reflect on a time you discussed an issue important to you with someone holding an opposite view. Why did you find the experience meaningful? 400 words. Okay, so how you disagree is equally, if not more important than what you are disagreeing on. I want you to think about how this shapes the way that you are going to disagree with others in the future. So why are colleges asking this? Because in college, you're going to encounter a diversity of people, right? Different people, different backgrounds, different ways of thought. And that's the whole point of college, is to put you in conversation with people who think differently than you so you can expand how you think and how you engage with the world. So they want to find out, like, are you a critical thinker? Like, are you capable of having your mind changed? The key here is, what is the growth point for you? Okay, maybe you realized that your argument was actually logically flawed, or it wasn't nuanced enough. It wasn't taking enough points into consideration. Maybe it was more about how you argued your point of view that wasn't super effective. Maybe you lost your temper, or maybe you presented your argument in ways that are hard to follow, or you weren't really listening to the other person and making them feel included. So this is an opportunity to get vulnerable and real. Like, even if you think your opinion from start to end was completely right, the growth area can come from how you delivered your opinion or how you engaged with the other person. So the second question is, reflect on a membership in a community to which you feel connected. Why is this community meaningful to you? You may define community however you like. And this is 400 words. So my biggest piece of advice for this is, whenever I come across a community essay with my students, I always say, it doesn't make sense if you tell me about the community without painting me a specific picture of the people in that community. Like, who are you actually serving and engaging with? So I would choose a couple of people, maybe 1 or 2 people that have either impacted you within this community, like they inspired you, or it's somebody that you impacted. And paint me a picture of them, like help me see them, name drop them, give me a little bit of description so that I feel like I get to know these people too. The before and afters for these type of community and leadership essays are really important. Before meaning, show us what this place was like before you entered, and after meaning, well, what change did you bring to this community? That will really allow us to see your impact on this community. Make sure you also answer the question of how you personally have grown in this community, right? If you're highlighting specific people, like, what was their specific impact on your life? How did you change the way you live after engaging in community with them? So the third option is, reflect on an element of your personal experience that you feel will enrich your college. How has it shaped you? 400 words. So this is really nice because this question is kind of like a catch-all. It's so broad, right? Personal experience can mean so much. So it can mean your family situation, where you grew up, unique extracurricular opportunities, your relationships with your friends, your teachers, the values your community holds, religious background, your socioeconomic status, gender, sexuality, culture, etc. So this is really, really, really broad. And that's why if you can't figure out an answer to the 2 other questions, just go with this one. The key to this question is enrich your college. How will you bring that to Yale? Another way to think about this question is, what is the superpower that this particular experience has given you? So this question doesn't necessarily ask how you're going to put it into action at Yale, like some schools do, like they want you to be really specific about looping it back to them. But if you want to, you can definitely slide some things about Yale into the second half of this essay. So for example, if your superpower is, let's say, illuminating students' personal histories, like you're really good at asking questions in a non-invasive way and kind of getting the backstory of their lives, well, maybe you are bringing that to Yale via using a grant to host a personal histories podcast project. Or maybe you are bringing it to a specific club and hosting a panel there. So there are ways in which you can kind of activate yourself at Yale with the superpower and include that as part of your essay towards the end. Okay, now we're going to get into the short answer questions, which honestly are so fun. My biggest piece of advice for short answers in general is don't overthink them, but they are a place for you to show off, the fun parts of yourself, the sillier parts of your personality. And these are all 35 words, so really you don't have a lot of room, but it is just a fun place for the admissions officers to get to know you. The first question is, what inspires you? Okay, so this can be a list of things or it can be one thing, but if you're going for a list of things, I would say, you can vary this level of seriousness for these things. Like, let's say one of the items that inspires you is like, I don't know, more philosophical and it's intangible. Okay, great. Make sure the next thing on that list contrasts with that. It can be small, it can be tangible, it can be silly, right? So you just want to create a variety if you are constructing a list. If you're choosing one thing, make sure that it is specific. So for example, like if nature inspires you, well, we engage with nature very differently as human beings, right? So for me, engaging with nature is like a simple sunset hike, but for someone else, it might mean going scuba diving or flying a plane. There's crazy ways and different ways of engaging with nature. So you need to make sure that whatever inspires you, you're specific about it. And also the why behind how it inspires you, in terms of nature, for example, I like nature because it reminds me how small I am in the best way possible in the universe. You might like nature because it fascinates you with all of the details and its intricacies. So even your why can be kind of nuanced. The second question is, if you could teach any college course, write a book, or create an original piece of art of any kind, what would it be? I would also take into consideration what your application for Yale looks like as a whole. Let's say all of your other answers are super academic and nerdy, then maybe you want to choose something lighter and like a sillier topic for this question, right? This is where you can balance your application almost. So let's say you are going for an academic direction. If this topic already exists in a class at a certain university, what is your spin on it? Like, what are you bringing to it that is unique and kind of has never been done before? So think of a fun twist to that if you're going in an academic direction. But basically, this can be super niche, right? It's asking like, what is your Roman Empire? Like, what do you always think about? What can you basically go into a mini TED Talk at a moment's notice? That's what this question is asking you. Okay, the third question is, other than a family member, who is someone who has had a significant influence on you? What has been the impact of their influence? So this can be someone in your real life, but it can also be someone who is fictional or famous. It doesn't really specify. However, if you are going with the fictional famous direction, you really need to have a specific reason why you look up to them or how they have impacted or shaped your life. Like, it has to go beyond the cliche. So a lot of students tend to answer with their teachers, which is fine. It makes sense, right? You got to make your teacher pop, right? Calling your teacher kind and compassionate, there's a lot of kind and compassionate teachers out there. So you need to highlight something super specific about them, like what is a quirk or a descriptor that really only belongs to them? And most importantly, what is it that they have taught you, right? Like, we can be nuanced even in your why. So for example, if we are saying like, oh, this teacher taught me kindness, that's super vague, right? Because I mean, a lot of people can say that, but how can we nuance that? Oh, this teacher taught me that it's worth it to be kind even when it's difficult, or kindness takes sacrifice. So, we're moving away from the general kindness and into a more specific type of kindness, and you can be even more nuanced from there. And the last short answer question is, what is something about you that is not included anywhere else in your application? Again, I would work backwards on this to figure out what you haven't talked yet about on your app. Think through your hobbies, your weird passions, rituals, culture, your fun facts. This is just a chance to highlight something about you that maybe isn't so serious. It makes you a little more unforgettable. It can be silly, right? Totally random, just something that will make you pop a little bit more. They are not really interested in you, let's say, bragging here, because obviously the most important parts of you would have already bragged on your ESSAYS list. So this is just a fun like window into your life. So those are the Yale questions. Don't forget, you can always read the essays that I wrote that got me into every school I applied to. I don't gatekeep. They're all on my website. Check them out there. And yeah, let me know what school you guys want me to break down next. I am grinding these videos out for you, and I just really don't believe in gatekeeping. So that's why I'm doing this. Hit follow, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.